nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll get right into it. The first thing on the agenda is the meeting minutes from last time. Has everybody had a chance to review? Any questions or comments? If not, I can entertain a motion.
So moved.
So moved by Tony Duncan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Darren. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. All right, second item is the GPC abatement confirmatory resolution. Grant, if you would, so, sir, thank you very much.
Okay. This is the last step in the process for the abatement for GPC, which we've talked about for a while now. Got the confirmatory resolution in your packet, and total amount on that, and you should have a schedule from Baker Tilly. I don't know if you've got that in your packet, but we attach the schedule, and this is anticipated to abate approximately $3.1 million over a 10-year schedule. It's a modified abatement that Baker Tilly prepared. I'll go ahead and read that, unless there are any questions about that specifically. Here it is. Brian, did you have any comments that you want to make about that?
You know, the only thing I would add, Grant, and I guess I would start with apologizing to the council for not being able to be there in person. I don't know if you heard me earlier when I was talking with Tim Conrad, who's joined us, with Stimulus Economic Development Advisor for another item on the agenda, but my daughter, my oldest daughter, tested positive for flu A a couple days ago. So it's my turn to be at home and be doing all that, switching off with my wife. So anyway, apologies for the inconvenience there. No, I would just add, Grant, that this is a slightly different abatement than what we are used to, just given the pretty, obviously very significant amount of personal property investment and real property investment that GPC has made over the years since they've been here in Daviess County. There are pretty odd provisions of state statute that I am not smart enough to describe and understand in great detail, but if we were to give a standard abatement schedule at the 100%, 90%, 80%, so on and so forth, we could inadvertently abate existing equipment, which one, equitably isn't necessarily fair, right? Because they've already received those incentives on that investment. And number two, it could create some issues with the TIF. Yeah, hold on, honey. Sorry. That's my 3-year-old. The schedule that you have in front of you, and as Grant mentioned, is with the declaratory resolution, is 30% for years 1 through 3, and then 60% for the next 4 years, and then 65% for the remaining 2. So it's almost backloaded in terms of they get the maximum abatement savings towards the latter end of the term.
Okay.
Any questions for me on that? No? All right.
Thanks, Brian.
I'll go ahead and start on this confirmatory resolution. It's just a couple pages, so bear with me. And then if there are any questions, we'll answer those then. This is resolution 2022-3 or 4. Can you hear me? Am I on? It's red. Okay. Should I talk louder? Okay. Whereas the Daviess County Council, Daviess County, Indiana, did, at their October meeting, hold a public meeting, receive information regarding a tax abatement from the subject company, Grain Processing Corporation. Whereas the Daviess County Council, Daviess County, Indiana, did at the October meeting pursuant to this Indiana Code provision, Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1-1, And whereas, as directed in the resolution, notice of the adoption of this resolution and all other disclosures required by Indiana Code 6.1.1-12.1-2.5 have been published in accordance with Indiana Code 531. And whereas, as appears in the records of the council, there are no remonstrances or objections that have been received, and the council now having considered such resolution and having heard evidence thereon and being fully and sufficiently advised in the premises, now therefore be it resolved by the County Council, Davis County, Indiana, that subject to the specifications herein and based on the information provided to council and included in the abatement application, which is included in that earlier resolution, as adopted by this council at the November meeting, is that correct, Jen? November or October?
It was October.
Okay, I think I'm on now. That louder.
Yeah.
Is now hereby and in all things ratified, approved, and confirmed. Be it further resolved by the County Council that the real estate owned by Grain Processing Corporation at 1443 South 300 West, Washington, Indiana 47501, and the property described in the application for tax abatement is hereby confirmed as and found to be an economic revitalization area, and the property is entitled to a deduction for a period of, it'll be 10 years, as to real property taxes and 10 years as to personal property taxes in accordance with IC 6.1.1, 12.1, and the real estate shall remain designated an economic revitalization area, and such deductions shall be in compliance with the schedule that is set forth in the attached. When we complete this, we'll obviously want to attach that as part of the full record. The auditor, I say that right here. The auditor has attached and shall attach the approved deduction schedule. Pursuant to Indiana Code 6.1.1, 12.1, 11.3, non-compliance is waived pursuant to the provisions set forth in Indiana Code 6.1.1, 12.1, 11.3a. Hereby adopted this day by the Davis County Council. So again, this is the third step in the process. Usually we present the project at a macro level. You guys can ask questions at any point in the process. We have a declaratory resolution declaring it an economic revitalization area, which you did 2 meetings ago. And then today is the third step, the confirmatory resolution.
Thank you, Grant. Any questions for Grant? If there are no questions, can we entertain a motion to approve this confirmatory resolution?
So moved.
So moved by Tom Schaefer.
Second.
Second by Mike Sprinkle. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, same sign. All right, the resolution passes unanimously. Thank you, Grant. You can stay there as we moved on to the Westgate Microelectronics project abatement.
Yeah, and I know Brian's going to talk about this as well. This is another project that's been moving forward very quickly. Up at Westgate, there are a handful of companies in a single application for an abatement. This is part of a larger incentive package discussion that many of you are well aware of. Bryant and I just got the application earlier this week. We're not trying to rush it, but we did want to present to you today on that. So, Bryant, if you want to speak to that.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you, Grant, and thanks for that introduction. We also have, as I mentioned earlier, Tim and Matt Conrad with for the past several months. So I'll go ahead and start with kind of a broad overview, and then I'll turn it over to Tim and Matt to kind of take a little deeper dive with the companies that they're working with. So this has been a project that the Economic Development Corporation has been tracking for quite some time. As Grant mentioned, here in the past few months, it's really picked up as these economic development projects tend to go, right? It's you hit the economic development plateau, as I say, where things move a little slowly, and then they pick up right towards the end. So no, it's been great. It's a phenomenal project for Daviess County, a phenomenal project for the region. The project is going to be called Westgate 1, the Westgate 1 Microelectronics Campus. We have worked very closely with members of the council, obviously being very intentional to not get a majority of the council with some of the working group meetings that we've had. We've worked worked. I have to give a particular shout out to Matt Meredith, to Tony Duncan, and to Darren Holder, who have been representing you and have been answering emails in a moment's notice, hopping on meetings within an hour's notice, and have been great to work with over the past few months. So just kind of a project summary. Like I said, it'll be called Westgate 1. The developer on the project is Strongbox Commercial out of Zionsville. We're actually not talking about their incentive today. However, there will be an incentive towards the real estate, but what we were talking about today is the personal properties, the investment that the companies, the 4 operating companies are making. I don't know what I mean. Hold on. No. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, guys. Parenting, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. So yes, the 4 operating companies are Enhanced Semiconductors, Everspin Technologies, Trusted Semiconductor Solutions, and Reliable Microsystems. And collectively, between those 4 companies, over the next few years, they plan to make about $350 million in investment in machinery and equipment, 341 new jobs, and the average annual salary of those jobs is upwards of $100,000 per year. So phenomenal jobs for the region. And what you have in front of you today is an abatement request from the 4 companies. And this is a follow-up from the executive session, if you'll all recall, that we had about a month ago, about a month ago, where it's a 20-year abatement, so it's a significant abatement. The first 10 years, in terms of the schedule, at 100%. And then years 11 through 20 follow the standard schedule, so 100%, 90%, 80%, so on and so forth. So it's a significant incentive that we are talking about today, but very much responsive to a very immensely significant project to the region. So the value of that incentive is approximately $26 million over property taxes over the next 20 years. However, from the economic impact that we ran, this project has net benefits over the next 10 years of about $50 million to the county, $50 million in ancillary economic impact to the county, right? Which is pretty substantial. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Tim and Matt to kind of take a little bit of a deeper dive, and then we'll open it up for questions from that point. So Tim, Matt, the floor, or your virtual space is yours. So.
Well, thank you, Brian. Excited to present on these 4 projects today. It's 4 different companies, as Brian mentioned, but they're really going to be operating in tandem in this facility, sharing space. This is an incredibly exciting project. It's the first ever purpose-built advanced manufacturing plant in the United States, which is beyond my comprehension, but if I dumb it down for myself, this is going to be a lower volume semiconductor facility, but very high value add. So there are some defense applications for the product that just needs a high degree of customization, and it's been great. These 4 companies are going to operate in parallel in this production process to produce some really exciting product in a clean room environment.
Perfect. Thank you, Tim. Matt, do you have anything to add from your end? Matt Conrad, sorry.
No, I think most of you were there at the announcement when Bob Patty kind of gave the summary of the facility and the excitement that is going on. I know you all are very close with Crane. Crane is super excited about this. They hope this is the first step in a long line of projects that can happen as they try to boost the entire region with their influence and the companies that they're working with. And And so the companies are excited to get started. One of them, RMS, already has an employee with boots on the ground, splitting time between Tennessee, where they're based, and the region down there. And they'll be the first to start hiring, because in their process, they do a lot of the upfront development design work, and the back end, the validation, but that design work is starting already. The other three are more typical manufacturers, and so the bulk of their work won't happen until the building's done and the equipment starts going in. But everyone's excited about it, and we greatly appreciate your support.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. And I would just echo, Matt's comment about NSWC Crane. I mean, we would not be having this conversation. We wouldn't be talking about this kind of investment and these fantastic jobs that will be created over the next few years if it weren't for the amazing work that's happening on the base and what they are doing across the DoD in leading the way and paving the way for microelectronics investment here in the United States. So, we have to give all credit to the base, who this is a key mission area of theirs, and the Pentagon really looks to them now to make decisions as it relates to microelectronics and trusted microelectronics, particularly as it relates to defense, Department of Defense applications. So we are very much seeing the first step and being the beneficiary of that with this investment here in Daviess County. So with that, I will, any of us would be happy to, Tim, Matt, myself would be happy to answer any questions from the council, address any comments, whatever they might be.
And you should have, Bryant and I got this earlier this week. You should now have it in your email. Again, it's a single application, but there's 4 different companies. It lays out the breakdown of the different companies: enhanced semiconductors and reliable microsystems. Bryant, would you also then email out to the council, if you don't mind, the schedule that's being requested, if that's okay?
I'd be happy to. Yes, I would be happy to. And I would be happy to share the preliminary incentives offer that was proposed alongside the IDC. Obviously, there are state incentives that are coming into this project as well. And then this is also in partnership with the Indiana Uplands Ready program. So there's going to be about $10 million, up to $10 million that will be going into infrastructure improvements. They're up at Westgate. There are going to be significant water and wastewater improvements, electric improvements, whatever they might be, to support this type of investment and this very sophisticated level of manufacturing that will be happening in the northern part of the county. So this is one piece of a multifaceted state, regional, and local approach to attracting this project. So I'd be happy to send that over to you. It should be the same. It is the same schedule that you all saw at the executive session here like I said, about a month ago. So.
And then there may also be, Brian, if I'm correct, there'll be an economic development agreement to sort of capture all of the moving parts, and so that we're all understand what the incentives are being offered, and part of this abatement is that there's accountability, right? There's a CF1 that's applied for, that's submitted each year. There's this initial application, but we want to capture all these things and make sure that what's being promised is also being delivered, just that you all are comfortable when you're doing these things. You'll remember, are the CF1s due like in May of each year, I believe? So that's where they tell you, hey, this is what we got and this is what we're doing in actuality. So I think it's a good process, and I do think we haven't done economic development agreements in the past, but I think it'll help crystallize the whole picture.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Grant. And actually, because of this situation, this unique situation of working with 4 operating companies and 1 development company, we'll technically have, I would say, 5 economic development agreements. And so we'll be sending a lot of paperwork your way in the coming months, which I apologize for in advance. But I agree, it's good practice. It just lays out the expectations of both parties. the county and the petitioner, who's requesting the incentive itself.
This is one other thing that's maybe a little bit different about this. This is a 20-year abatement. So after, Brian, is it 10 years? We'll have another public hearing, and we'll present as to. I mean, it's after 10 years they have to represent to this council on what they've done. Is that correct, Brian?
That is correct. Yeah, it's the same process for a 10-year abatement, but yes, after the first 10 years, there will be another presentation, I believe, public hearing. But yes, another presentation at least.
If there are any other questions, I guess, for myself or for the guys on technology, if not, would like to hear, your approval to move forward to the next steps, which will be declaratory and then confirmatory.
If there are no other questions, if we can get a confirmation to move forward with this abatement process so we can go to declaratory, can I entertain a motion for that?
So moved.
So moved by Mike Sprinkle. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Marilyn beat you there,
Marilyn's right
Darren.
there.
So Marilyn McCullough seconds it. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposition, same sign. The resolution moves on to the next step. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you,
Thank you.
Grant.
We really should thank Brian here.
And yeah,
Brian, you still there?
I am. Are you guys tired of me yet?
no.
What I was telling Matt, obviously it's been a long process, but you've thanked a lot of people, but you spearheaded a lot. Well, you spearheaded everything. And there were times where everybody was conversing even late at night, and you, as you said, with young kids and everything going on, but Brian has done a really good job on keeping arms around this, because it got a little complex and convoluted at times, but
Well, it did, and he was always there to answer the questions. If I had questions, almost immediately I got feedback. So we appreciate everything you've done. I don't think it would have been as successful without your help. So we appreciate that, Brian. Thank you.
yep.
Oh, thank you very much. I mean, it's a team effort, all of this. It takes all of us to get these things done, and I certainly have to thank Tim and Matt Conrad, who have helped make this process easier as well, and helping us, all of us, wrap our heads around this. It's a single project instead of looking at it as 4 different projects, right? Looking at it as one in tandem, which has helped us to really streamline things. So thank you, and thank you to you all for this major investment. You all meaning the county council and our county leadership for this investment. This is a major step forward for Daviess County. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, economic development project that we've ever seen. And it's phenomenal to see that growth, and we hope to continue to sustain that, right? So thank you all for your time and effort, and we will keep digging into this, so.
All right, thanks, Brian. But I'm going to keep you on because the next project that we're going to talk about is the Daviess County Commons project. So if you could lead us off with that, Brian, please.
I'd be happy to, yes. And Tim, Matt, you all are welcome to stay, but I'm sure you have other clients that you need to get to as well. So we're through with the microelectronics project. We're going to dive into some other stuff if you all want to hop off. So.
Perfect. Well, thank you all very much.
Thanks,
Thank
Matt.
you.
Tim, we appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Okay. Well, so if it's okay, I'm going to start, and I'm going to knock on some wood here, hoping that the technology works. But I'm going to start by our intern, Elle Stowers, and the Washington High School TV and radio class. So it's pretty neat to see our youth digging in and getting involved in some of this and getting excited about this project, which obviously I think there's a lot of excitement around. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to try to share that, and we'll kick it off that way.
Yeah.
The Commons of Daviess County is a new signature community project for Daviess County that transforms empty lots in downtown Washington into a vibrant and community-centered gathering space, along with historical Main Street in the heart of downtown. The conceptual design provides a space that can be used for community-wide events and programming. The current plans illustrate a variety of spaces within the park, including the areas for community gatherings, reflection, and social activities.
I think it'll be a great place for families to hang out, to listen to musicians, to have the old market downtown and bring people together. And that's one of the things that makes Daviess County great.
My opinion about the new commons is I think it will be good for our community. I think it will definitely be good for our business. We have a drilling every Saturday night, and I think that it will be great for people to be able to have a place to sit outside. There's also the opportunity for concerts and different events that we could even host out there. But yeah, I definitely think it's...
Susie Smith, the owner of A Wonderful Life on Main Street in Washington, said, "I think the community will be great for downtown Washington, and it will be a wonderful place to house many events that take place in our community." The new commons is going to affect A Wonderful Life by drawing many people to Main Street and allowing my business to flourish and be seen by many people.
The new commons project, I am looking for lots of events. I want to see lots of events. I don't want an empty space sitting there. I want to see live music. I want to see shows. I want to see art shows. I want to see something that brings something to Washington.
I think the commons will be a great thing for Daviess County. It'll give the people somewhere to go and gather together and support their own and support local.
So could you all see that, hear that?
Yeah, it was good.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, I hope that provided a little bit of background on just the excitement in the community. It's neat to see people of all ages and backgrounds that are excited about the positive things that the community is working on. And I think this project, it's very fitting that it follows, our discussion on the microelectronics project in the northern part of the county, because this is what we're going to be talking about with you all today. It's a major quality of place investment. It's a major investment in the community. And those are the types of things that need to be done, that must be done if we want to be competitive and attracting and retaining talent, particularly the kind of talent that those four companies we just discussed are going to be bringing here in the coming years, especially when they have choice. They have choice in where they want to live, and they're going to be looking at and choosing a community that has the quality of life that affords them the quality of life that they're looking for, right? So you all should have received last night a packet. Again, if I were, when I was planning to join you in person, I was going to be handing those out today, but I think it actually worked out to be able to send that a bit in advance. I'm going to share my screen just to walk through some of that, if you'll bear with me here. Okay. All right. Can everyone see that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, no, okay, great. So, sorry, that's towards the end. We're gonna jump back up here. So, in the video, you heard from some folks around the community. You saw some renderings, which we have shown here, of what the site's going to look like. So, just a broad overview. I know we've talked to many of you about this project, and I'm sure you've seen things from the media on this project. But what this is Main Street. Can you all see my cursor, all right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So we're on Main Street in Washington right now, and then this is 3rd Street, South Street, and 4th Street. So going back to a couple of years ago, the Economic Development, many years ago, I would say, the Economic Development Corporation and Foundation obtained ownership of the J. Myers lot, which is right here. A couple of years ago, we acquired the former Hayes Automotive property, which is right here. And then about a year ago, we acquired this property, which is a former laundromat in downtown Washington. So really all of these sites, as you saw in the video, leave a little bit to be desired, right in the heart of, of Washington and the largest community in Daviess County, the county seat, right on Main Street. So this precedes me, this project, so an idea of doing kind of a creative placemaking project, gathering space in downtown Washington. But you know, it's taken a lot of us to bring it to where it's at now. So what we're looking at in plan view here, right along Main Street, you'll have what we're calling the Market Pavilion. So this will be capable of hosting farmers markets, artisans markets, various, smaller events taking place downtown. We will retain parking, so we know that parking is vital to our businesses downtown. Apologies for the 3-year-old talking in the background there. We also have a stage and a band shell performing arts pavilion right here with a green space, open lawn for performances, different events to take place. And then we have a larger pavilion in the south of the Knights of Columbus for hosting larger events, right? So the idea for this space is versatility. You can host a variety of events at multiple times. You can host a larger event, all with different locations, different locations within the park, right? And then I will also add there are public restrooms just to the north, this smaller building here. We also do have some parking along 4th Street, retaining some of that as well. So that's the project as a whole, and then just moving through, this is on Main Street, looking at the Market Pavilion. This is from the J. Myers parking lot, looking into the project. From the corner of 3rd and South Streets. This is in the Central Plaza. You can see some, bench swings there. Just kind of a neat place to be, hang out, get to know your community, and participate and sponsor the downtown patrons. This is the Performing Arts Pavilion, kind of showing what it could look like during a large concert or performance downtown. The event pavilion, and then this is the Heritage Wall, where we acknowledge all of the partners, the countless partners that have been involved in this project and will continue to be involved, including the public sector. Certainly the city of Washington has been a major leader. I know Mayor Rhodes is there and has been a driver behind this project. He's been great to work with through all of this, and certainly the city council as well as our nonprofit partners. So the Regional Opportunities Initiative, who, as we talked about with the microelectronics project, they're going to be leading up the infrastructure investment in the northern part of the county for Westgate 1. They contributed early on to help us acquire the property, particularly the laundromat property, which significantly increased the project, but increased its impact as well. And then the Knights of Columbus was the first to contribute towards this project. We have private sector sponsors and other grants as well that have gone into this. So they will all be acknowledged there. So kind of getting into some of this, up to this point, we've spent $245,000 in site acquisition and demolition, about $130,000 in design fees, and then we have about $40,000 remaining in design, and that's all been taken care of by the Economic Development Foundation, the Knights of Columbus, and the Regional Opportunities Initiative. So those 3 entities coming together. Apparently that's what she thinks of my jabbering here. So moving on into the project costs. The bids did come in a couple of weeks ago. We received 2 bids, one from Tabor Owens Construction, obviously a local company here, and one from Danco Construction out of Evansville. Tabor Owens was the low bid at $3,154,000, and that's the city council on Monday was able to accept that bid pending financing and move forward with their commitment of $2 million over the course of 5 years towards this project. So it's a major step in the right direction. And going over the total project costs, as we all know, I mean, you guys are talking about a major courthouse renovation, and you just wrapped up within the past few years the annex. I'm sorry, everyone. And then, so with those construction projects, you know that there are unforeseen costs. So we have a contingency built in here of 10%. And then some of these other expenses, so construction management, interest expense, and something that we've talked about all along through our fundraising efforts with the private sector is creating a maintenance fund. And we borrowed this concept from the city of Huntingburg, who has their Market Street Park, and any of you have been there. It's a phenomenal facility right in the heart of their downtown. There were a lot of mirrors between this facility and theirs, and they created a maintenance fund with their foundation to support ongoing maintenance, because obviously those things do have an expense. And it's easy to think about construction and the cost that goes into that, but you have to keep an eye on maintenance to make sure it remains in top-notch quality moving into the future. So that's something we're looking into as well. Kind of getting into some of the funding. So the Knights of Columbus gave us $300,000. We have $184,000 of that with cash on hand that will go towards construction. The city, as I mentioned on Monday, committed to $2 million over the course of 5 years, $400,000 per year for those 5 years from their edit. The county, our request would be $750,000 total over a 5-year time frame, $150,000 per year for the next 5 years. I know there's been some discussion about what that number needs to be, and certainly would love to talk with you all today. That is obviously your decision and what we are requesting, but that $150,000 is essentially 10% of the county's edit allocation or edit receipts that come in, I believe, in 2021, and that number is expected to continue to increase. And then we have 2 corporate sponsors, which are yet to be announced, but we will be announcing very shortly. Both are giving us $250,000, but one over the course of 5 years, the other over the course of 3. We have a grant from the Community Foundation, Daviess County Community Foundation, and from the Lilly Endowment for $113,000 that will go towards the project. And then, in addition to the 2 corporate sponsors totaling $500,000, we've also had $62,000 committed from our Common Heritage campaign that we have not launched publicly. Those have all just been in one-on-one conversations. We hope to launch that publicly here in the coming month. So with that, and with obviously the county being the outstanding commitment, the others have been made. We would stand at about $3.6 million, which is, I would assume, where with the 10% contingency and with the interest expense, which is very close to where we would end up, right? Just a bit on the timeline. I mentioned the bids were opened on December 1st. Tabor Owens was accepted contingent upon financing on Monday. The bids are good for 60 days from the date of bid opening. So we want to move quickly. I know this has seemed to, kind of like we talked about with the microelectronics project, been very slow up until you hit some of these timelines where things need to move pretty quick, right? So we have the bids that are on a timeline, and we also have the financing, which, we worked with Baker Tilly, we worked with Barnes and Thornburg in the city, and we send out an RFP to our partner financial institutions, to our area banks. We got several proposals back. The most competitive was actually from First Savings Bank in Odin, with a non-taxable rate of 2.94% and a taxable rate of 3.95%, which in today's economic conditions, in today's climate, that is really unheard of. So they are very bullish on this project, which is great. And under the current proposal, what we're talking about, and this is in conversations with the city, with some of the projects that they have coming down the pike, particularly as it relates to the Business 50 project, the next phase of that, which is the largest phase. DCEDF would serve as a pass-through, and we would borrow the funds through First Savings Bank. And then the funding commitments that come in from us, from the city, from our private sector partners, from the grants, we would make sure to align those with the debt service payments, right? So that's how we would structure this and what we're working through at the moment. So next steps, where we'll be heading from here, and then certainly we'd like to open it up for discussion, questions, thoughts. We're going to be working very closely with Baker Tilly and Barton Thornburg on what's next. We actually are working to set up the meeting at the beginning of this next week to talk about that. We have remaining funding approvals, which, as I mentioned, we have the city's commitment. We will be finalizing a funding agreement with them that outlines specifically when those payments are supposed to be made and coordinate that with the debt service. We'll determine the final financing structure between the Economic Development Foundation of the city, and then we'll execute those funding contracts in alignment with that selected financing structure, as I mentioned. So ultimately heading towards a notice to proceed and a construction contract with Tabor Owens. Ideally, by the end of January, I would say, that being the goal. So with that being said, those are some of our next steps. It's a broad overview of the project, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and would be happy to answer and entertain any questions.
Hey, Brian, at this time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me say a few words. You know, we've been working on this project for probably 18 months, and it is a vital commitment for the city. The other day we committed $400,000 for 5 years, like Bryant said, for $2 million, and it's aggressive commitment, but I think it's worthwhile. Our council was a little, you know, they had questions, and it's coming from my edit fund, and I think it's very vital to this community to get this project with this funds that we need. It's very important because at one time that back structure by the KSC was put off with a different bid. It had two bid packages, and we at one time thought we couldn't do this whole project because of funding. But I think it's crucial to be able to do the whole project at once. We talked about doing it in phases, and phases don't work very well. And I can see a phase going, and I can see the commitments, the money going away, and we not get the second part, which is very vital to this project. So, you know, with all the unknowns that the city's got going on, I am sticking my neck out a little bit. I mean, we're going to be fine, but the highway project's an unknown that's coming up in February. But, you know, our council is pending on what you guys decide. I mean, what our total funding is, of course, and I think the county needs to be a part of this. I've talked to the commissioners, and they got a couple of they're behind it by far. Now they're looking for your guidance, what you guys think want to do. We started out with this project being $1.6 million when it was just 2 blocks. Then it went, of course, to we estimated $4 million. It's a lot bigger project, but I think with the city's commitment and what we're asking, what we'd like to see the county do would be nice. We'd have all our funding in place. We can move on this project. The banks are looking for this, and they're looking for what we're going to give them so we can get the funding and financing finished. So I think with the city's I'd love to see you guys consider $750,000 for a 5-year period. But I think it's doable. It shows when Mayor Wellman came and you guys helped us with the West Side Highway project of $1 million. And it was very crucial, and I appreciate it coming in as after Mayor Wellman. But I think the city and the county works very well together, and we'll continue to work together. And I think it's a great project for both of us.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that. I'll kind of say my piece, and we'll have a discussion. I've been involved with this project for a little while. The initial ask a while ago was $500,000, where everybody had kind of agreed upon. And happening with what's happening in the northern part of the county and quality of life issues, I can see, and there's a lot of other organizations putting together things for quality of life. We want to attract people to the county. Washington is the county seat. This project is big enough to, we can have so many events for everyone in the county here. I'm just one on this council. The 750, I was a little off on. I know that's what they want. I was 700 that I was willing to go. But that's why we're having a discussion here today. and I'm open to everybody's questions or comments. Personally, I'm for this project. Hopefully, you guys are as well. I think it's going to be good for the community. We need to attract some people here, and I think this is a project that can do it. So, any other questions, comments?
As the mayor said, it's been 18 months, 24 months. He and his employees have put a lot of time in it because I've been part of that group since the beginning. Like he said, I was fine with $500,000, but with what's going on at Westgate, and other people who are interested in stuff up there continuing, we need to take a hard look to get these people to live in Daviess County and not live in Bloomington or Bedford or wherever. So it is a big chunk. However, at $150 a year, we did $250 a year to the mayor here for several years, 4 years. If you look at balances during that time period, there's more going in. So I think I sent that. The fund still continues to grow, and to be totally transparent, we all sit on Brian's board, so it's a little
right.
Figure out which hat you want to wear here. But it's a good project. I'd love to see it happen, come to fruition. I think getting it scheduled and getting people in there, yeah, I'm for it.
I think that Mike and I are the only two that were on here back when we partnered with the city on the Business 50 project. And one of the things that came out then was that even though it was in the city, Bill Cornelius at the time was head of the highway department, but speaking as an individual, he said that is the highest traffic road in the entire county every day in Washington, and that's, throughout Daviess County. So that's kind of the rationale at the time for supporting that, was because of how important that was to everyone in the county, not just the city of Washington. Kind of how I feel about this project. It will attract people from all over the county and beyond. You just look at the KFC drawing. But when it gets high, people get bussed in here from Fort Wayne. So you have something like this that's going to have events all the time. I'm fully supportive of 750.
Are we looking at taking the funds out of the edit account? Okay, so this would have nothing to do with the help fund that we've set aside earlier for quality of life improvements in the county and that kind of thing.
That's the plan, yeah. Would be to take it out of the edit fund.
I fully support the project as well, and I feel like the edit funds, that's what they were established for, right? To help to grow the community, economic development.
And I think too, from the standpoint, I remember Cindy, we sit back on meetings a few years ago when this started to come to life, and we're talking about the need for amenities within the county, and if we are going to attract, and not only attract families to the county, but also retain, keeping our young families here, those that go off to college, and we want them coming back to the county. And I think amenities and things like this are the things that we need within the county to keep them here. And again, also focus on the fact that it's not just a city of Washington project, that it truly is for the entire county to utilize this facility and be something that we can all be proud of down the road. So yeah, I definitely am supportive of getting this accomplished.
I support the project. I would have really liked to seen it stayed at the $500,000 commitment, but we've got a lot going on. We don't know what it's going to cost over here on the courthouse. We've got the worst bridge in the county at Montgomery that we've committed to help the city of Montgomery get that thing redone, and luckily we're finishing up the Cannelberg Road project that we've been on for years. My question would be that if at some point in time the project's of $3.1 million with a 10% contingency in there, if it doesn't go over the 10%, let's say it's $150,000 less or $300,000 less, is there any way that the county could keep some of those retaining monies committed if it's not needed?
Well, this is probably going to be 3.6 before it's over with, because there's going to be a few extras. Most likely, it's going to be 3.6 when it's all said and done. But I just wanted to say, my original commitment to this project back in the day was $400,000 for 4 years, 400,000 total. So when this project grew and got bigger, of course, I seen the value in it, and I went. Of course, now we're committing $2 million. Now my council, you know, with the highway project, is going to be probably $17-18 million when it's all said and done. With some of that coming from NDOT, but we're going to have to find some money to do the overage. Yeah, it's a big commitment, but you know, I feel like, you know, the city and the county has, we are in the city, and I said this since I took office, we are all Daviess County. We're sitting in Daviess County. The city is sitting in Daviess County. They used to say, well, the county, city, county, city. We're all in Daviess County, so it's a big project for all of us, and it is a big undertaking for the city, but I think it's well worth it. So, but yeah, my original commitment was like $400,000. My council questioned me on that the other night, just like Mike said. They said, now, you first was talking $400,000, now you're talking $400,000 a year for 5 years. But starting this project and completing it all at one time, I think for downtown will be crucial for this project.
Thanks, Mayor Rhodes.
And, you know, if I can address that, but starting with Mike Sprinkle's question there. Mike, I definitely think that's something we need to talk about, and it's something that needs to be a discussion with Baker Tilly and with Barnes and Thornburg when we discuss the financing and how it sets up. I agree. If there is funding, if we don't use that 10% contingency, if costs do come in lower, you know, whatever it might be, we need to talk about what happens to those remaining committed funds, right? So I would say it's premature to say that all of that would go back to the county at this point, just without having those discussions with those folks. But I would certainly welcome that as part of the discussion as we, you know, move into these next steps with Baker Tilly and with Barnes and Thornburg. It's something we're going to have to work out. So, I mean, I agree with you. If there's funding left over, those that have made commitments, you know, and that funding's not needed, deserve that back. But I think we need to have a broader discussion about that. So,
well, our plate is kind of getting full with requests and needs and what have you. And I just trying to think out of the box how that we can hopefully satisfy most everyone. But and if inflation keeps going up, we all know it's going to be tougher as our budgets, you know, going further into time here. So that was just a question I had. I know the original commitment was for $500,000, and then the request became more. So I was trying to think of a way I can justify in my little head how I can approve this thing. So.
Sure. No, I completely agree, Mike, and I understand. I really do. I just, I don't think it's, at this point, if I were to say, oh, yes, that remaining, whatever it is, goes back to the county, I may get some scrutiny with that with maybe some of our other funding partners, right? So I just want to be careful with my response there. I'm tracking 100% with what you're saying. I think it just needs to be a broader discussion with those folks. So I hope you understand that.
Yeah, I did.
So you're saying,
and I'm sorry, one more item, just to address, you know, obviously the initial commitments. I mean, when we initially went to the city council for this, we were applying for the grant through ROI for $250,000, and that was when we were initially only talking about the J. Myers property, and then the property just south of that, right? So the project had been, was much smaller, obviously, at the time. Since then, we've had a lot of hands involved with this project, you know, the Knights of Columbus, the Community Foundation, our Community Foundation, you know, the county, certainly the city, you know, the Parks Department. I mean, the list goes on, right? So the project naturally grew, but also we doubled the size of the site, right? And we added another building instead of there just, well, I guess 2 or 3 buildings instead of there really just being one. So yeah, I mean, the project has grown, but this is, and I would echo the mayor's comments too about, everyone in the city of Washington, everyone in the towns of Odin and towns of Montgomery, towns of Odin and Montgomery and others, they pay a Daviess County tax in addition to that municipality. So, this is benefiting, directly, those, a third of the county's population right in Washington as the county seat and largest municipality. And then very much directly by extension as well, the entire county and beyond, as I think Aaron Holder mentioned in terms of the impact of this project and it being called the Daviess County Commons. That's something when we initially applied for that first grant, it was intended to be a unifying factor, that this isn't Washington versus Montgomery versus Odin. This is all of us. This is Daviess County and helping to create some of that identity, which is important. So.
Yeah, I get that.
And on Mike, I agree with Mike. I mean, when I look at what's going on right now within the county, I mean, we're going to have a meeting here later today about courthouse and looking at some numbers on that here in the near future. And it's a major investment within the county to get the renovation going on the courthouse. So, and then you look at again this. We were kind of silent up here a little bit on. I mean, I wanted to jump up and shout and say yay, with the project at Westgate, because that is just a tremendous opportunity for this county, and I don't want to downplay it, but it's just in terms of economic development, by far the largest thing this county's ever had, or to date anyway, and so. But the additional opportunity that could spring from that, I mean, that theoretically is a magnet for a lot of other things to come to the region and to the county. And so on that note, I want to make sure that as a county we have other monies available as well for investment up in that region. Part of the county as needed as things continue to hopefully grow up there as well and develop that tech park. So I mean I think I'm in support of Matt's recommendation, I guess, of 700. I mean, we're going from 500 to 700. I think that would be my compromise on the recommendation at this point, or on the proposal.
Yeah, I hope I'm not bringing the impression that I'm trying to throw water on the project, because it's a great project, it's a needed project. I'm just trying to think out of the box at the wheels that are turning and all the other projects that we've got going on, and just.
Got the same concerns.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this, I mean.
Right.
This is quality of life, and I invested money in the pickleball courts down there as a city. And, quality of life.
I can hear him squeaking and turning.
Some oil.
I think we need to do the whole 750,000 myself.
Would anyone like to entertain a motion?
I'm gonna make that motion.
Right.
I'm gonna make the motion that the county allocate $750,000, $150,000 over 5 years, to come out of the edit funds.
All right, I have
I second that motion.
For the Commons project.
All right, I have a motion by Tom Schaefer. I have a second by Mike Myers. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
I'm gonna vote no.
I have one vote for no. Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Bryant. Definitely understand the concerns, Mike, and understand where you're coming from. I do think this is going to be a great project for the community, and I'm looking forward to it.
Good project.
But definitely understand your concerns, and, and as we're in the trenches looking at all this stuff in the future, I mean, definitely know what you're talking about. So.
Our concerns are my clerk treasurer. That conversation, she's like, and it's a big undertaking, but
No, yes, thank you all, and yes, just echo Matt's comments there, Mike, like I said, completely understand, and we'll continue to work with the county, and would also extend an invitation for you all to join us this next week. I'll let you decide who your representative, who you would like to, involve in that project, in this project, right? But we'd love to keep you involved and get your thoughts and be able to address, any and all concerns that come up. Like I said earlier, as it relates to the microelectronics project, what we're doing to grow this community, whether it's traditional economic development or maybe more in the community development space, what we're talking about here, it's a team effort, and it takes all of us working together. As I've said, you probably heard me multiple times, this stuff's hard enough when everyone's rowing in the same direction, right? And so that's an effort that we're going to continue to try to stay at, right? And keeping everyone rowing in the same direction and address everyone's concerns. So thank you all so much for your time today, for dealing with my situation in working remotely. Thank you for dealing with my sick 3-year-old and her interruptions through in the technology. I appreciate all of you and wish you all Merry Christmas.
Hey, thank you, Brian. Thank you for all you've done for, for the county and helping us with a lot of projects. We do appreciate you, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Once again, every meeting has revolved around the mayor and his employee. I'm serious. All your employees, building commissioner over there and everything, so that's off to your employees.
Consideration. I think it will be a great project.
Now we got to do the fun stuff, right? So, so the next thing that we have on the agenda is the salary ordinance amendment. This is a transfer of funds. Of course, Janice is not here. She's at conference, correct? So it's an overtime that she would like to approve. $1,500 transferring to cover additional time worked by employees.
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Tom Schaefer.
Second.
Second by Tony Dungeon. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. All right. Salary ordinance amendment, West Boggs. We'll start with the first one, which is $1,000 to cover labor cost. If you look at the line A, that's a total line item that they did. We don't have a document for that, but I was clarified that that's their total line item and they're doing these additional transfers. So they won't add up in there because that was what we've approved before and in these transfers. The first one would be $1,000 to cover labor cost for maintenance assistant manager.
So moved.
So moved by Mike Sprinkle.
Second.
Second by Tom Schaefer. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, same sign. That one passes unanimously. The second one is the West Boggs General Fund Labor again, additional training new employees for labor at Glendale Maintenance and Office Help. This is $10,000.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Mike Myers.
Second.
Second by Marilyn McCullough. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Third document, we have West Boggs General Fund unemployment compensation. It's $6,694.73.
Move.
So moved by Tony Dungeon.
Second.
Second by Mike Sprinkle. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. All right. Salary ordinance member, sheriff. This is for $100.
Yep.
Better really scrutinize this one too.
Yeah, I know. I'm expecting it. Yeah, it's one of those where 26, 27 pace, moving it from part-time to,
Any questions for Gary?
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Tom Schaefer.
Second.
Second by Mike Sprinkle. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thanks, Gary. All right, you have a packet. I think most of you had signed the annual nepotism and contract disclosure forms. If you're not, just please stay after the meeting and sign those for the auditor's office. On the appointments, we're still working on a few of those. They should be done by the end of the month. There's just a few we're working on, so we'll table that for now.
You need to know about Mike Cecil's resignation.
Yes, that's the kind of, we're working on a few things based on that, so, yeah. Additional appropriations, we have soil and water. Group health insurance, $750. They had a change of dependent to one of the employees, so they're requesting an additional $750.
So move.
So moved by Tony Duncan. Second by Darren Holder. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. All right, now we have the labor from West Boggs. This is the second part of that, what we just passed. We just got to do the second part of it. Do I have a motion to pass?
Non-taxpayer money.
Correct, non-taxpayer money. Do I have a motion? Motion by Marilyn McCullough. Have a second? Second, Mike Myers. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Same sign. Motion passes unanimously. All right, transfers. First one on the list, we have Adult Protective Services to cover shortfall on group health insurance to the end of the year. They're moving from vehicle lease to group health, $1,500.
Move to approve.
Move to approve Tom Schaefer. Do I have a second? Darren Holder. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Right. We have postage to voting supplies. This was Janice. She can't be here with us today. Transferring money to pay supplies needed in the election office. This is $300.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mike Sprinkle. Second by Tom Schaefer. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. All right. We have one more transfer, and this is from annual training to office supplies. This is for toner supplies for Mr. Potts over in Veterans Affairs.
So moved.
So moved by Tony Duncan.
Second
by Tom Schaefer. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. All right. We got through the business at hand. I do want to make a presentation today. We have a lot of great people that work for the county, and definitely we want to recognize those that work hard for the county. And we have a office holder that is retiring, and I believe you started your career in like '84, right? Not '99 officially in the assessor's office, correct? And through all his training, leadership, and mentorship of office staff and people. I know he's helped me when I first come in. I had a lot of questions, and he was the first one to help me with things. We do appreciate it. Sad to see you go. We couldn't talk him into staying any longer. I think it was time. It was time for him. So I want to show some appreciation for. It says Dennis Eaton, but we'll call you Denny. And
You were 25 when you started?
yeah. 18. We'd like to get some pictures with you, Denny, afterwards, but definitely we want to show our appreciation for all your hard work that you've done for the We have another office holder that's going to be moving out of office, and that's Janice Williams in the clerk's office. She couldn't be with us today. We would present that award. We definitely appreciate all she's done. Again, she's worked in various offices throughout the county, and we definitely appreciate all the hard work she's been put in. A lot of projects that she's doing, especially now with the new voting system, is excellent, and definitely we're going to miss her in those positions as well. So we'll see her, and we'll present that award. I have one more that's retiring, not an office holder, but we want to show recognition, and that's for Diana Snyder. She's been in community corrections for 37 years. When it was a smaller office than it was, and grew it to what it is today. And a lot of the mental health issues that she's working on today and has been a part of, we want to definitely thank her for her time as well. And so, thank you, everybody. In your packets, you have some additional information. Other than that, is there any questions or comment, anything from the public?
I just want to, I mean, we can't let Denny get out of here with at least some minor words of wisdom, right, Denny?
Hey, Denny, can
Thank you. We wish you well. You'll enjoy it. Retirement's good.
Anything else? Anybody else? I appreciate everybody being here today, and then, you know, the county employees, all of our partners, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year. So, do I have a motion?
Motion adjourned.
Motion adjourned, Tony Dungeon. Second. All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hey, Cindy.